We should be safe here. Well, we might be safe here. I guess it's just kind of the best I can do. It's a safe house the hunters set up. You know, if they think I've been like tranced or taken under your control somehow, they'll probably think we're at some location of yours and not one of our own safe houses. I hope anyway. And it's sort of the best I can do, so. Now, how can you say that? How can you trust my judgment when I have made nothing but poor decisions since taking you? I took you in, but kept you in silver chains in my basement. I brought you food you couldn't even eat that still gave us away. I made the hunters suspicious without even getting away from them at all. And at the first sign of trouble, I took you and ran in a panic. They probably didn't even know. Maybe you just thought I had a date over or something. In my head, I thought he was gonna grab gear from his car, call back up, and then come back in, knives blazing. But maybe he really was just leaving. And now, because I made the call to run so fast, we didn't bring anything with us. I don't have anything but the supplies in the safe house. And now that we've run off suddenly after all that, if they didn't have a suspicion before, they're going to be all over us now. They're going to think you kidnapped me, and they're going to be totally focused on hunting you down. And somehow, in spite of all that, in spite of the fact that when we met I was going to kill you, you just said you trust me. Yeah, well, maybe I only trust you because I have to. Because of the situation that my poor choices put us in. I mean, what if I just killed you from the start? If I never interrogated you? If I never realized you were better than the other vampires? Better than me, frankly. No, sweetheart, you're not a monster. You didn't ask to be turned into a vampire, and it's not your fault that you're like this now. But it clearly hasn't changed who you are. Anyone being forced to go through change they don't want would lash out at the world. Let it make them angry and jaded. That's what I did. When my whole world was ripped from me, I killed, and then I became an angry, jaded person. But it isn't what you did. Whether you're willing to admit it to yourself or not, you were better than that. You refused to hurt anyone. You put everyone else first. You went through everything alone, and I can't imagine how hard that must have been. When I was most vulnerable and broken and scared, people showed up to help me through it. I didn't have to go through it alone. The last 2 years of my life, I've just been helping them, trying to pay them back for saving me. And because I thought they were right, I really thought what they were doing was right. And then the last couple days with you happened, and suddenly I'm not so sure. It's like everything's changing again, and I'm questioning if I've been doing the wrong thing for the last couple years. If you exist in your infinite kindness, then there has to be other vampires like you out there. And I don't know that the other hunters would care. I think most of them would have killed you anyway. And I've been thinking about what you said about them back at the house. I'm sorry for yelling at you about that, by the way. But maybe you were right. Maybe they were just using me. Or maybe they weren't and they really did just believe they were right. I don't know. But what I do know is that we're running from them and that I'm afraid of what'll happen if they find us. And I know that however scared I am, it must be worse for you. But whatever happens, we'll stick together. This time neither of us has to go through it alone. You're not scared. Like at all. Somehow, every word out of your mouth is sweet. I'm glad that, in spite of everything, you trust me. I'm glad you can feel safe with me. I know it's only been a few days, and I felt really confused for most of that, and I won't lie, I am still confused. I still have a lot to think through and figure out. But one thing I'm sure of already is that I will do whatever I can to protect you. Starting with the safe house, because I'm pretty sure it's loaded with stuff to kill vampires. Obviously, if the hunters show up and shit goes down, I'm going to need to keep some of these weapons so I can protect you, but like, all the garlic, silver chains, stuff I can't really use against humans, I will absolutely get rid of. There's enough food for me to be able to eat without leaving for a few weeks, but obviously that doesn't really help you. We never came up with a solution at my house, and it's going to be even harder to get any outside supplies in here. But I guess you're not chained up anymore, and I don't really have to be the one to go do that for you, so I guess you could just go back to eating animal blood like before and just have some of mine as often as you safely can. Oh look, I know you don't want to. I won't pretend to know what it feels like for you to have to. But I promised I would take care of you, and starving yourself and constantly being weak like this can't be good for you. So let me take care of you and feed you my own blood. It might not be enough for you to be a full-strength vampire, but you'd probably have enough strength to at least not feel weak and tired all the time. I just want to make sure you're okay. And I know you don't want to hurt or fight anyone, but if they do find us, you need to be strong enough to be able to get away. I know you'd think, since they're all trained vampire hunters, that having your vampire powers wouldn't really help. But if you run away, there really isn't that much they can do. A lot of our strategy revolves around traps and pride. Usually vampires are very prideful, arrogant. Like, my strategy when meeting you was laying an obvious trap and using your intrigue against you. The idea was that being a strong, confident, prideful vampire, you'd see straight through it and then just go along with it to see what my plan was and to play with me. I even set it up with my line about taking turns pinning each other to the wall and, in the scenario where we really are both playing each other, you want to take that chance to make it obvious it's a trap and, that you're really the one in control. Like, that offer of going back and forth makes you expect that I'm not really going to spring the trap right away. Then I pin you to the wall the first time and take you out before you ever actually switch places. In this case, the obviousness of the trap is the trap itself. Sweetheart, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel dumb for not seeing it. You're sweet, trusting, and humble. You shouldn't feel bad for that. The point I was making was just that if a vampire is actually cautious and uses their powers to keep away from us, then there isn't that much a vampire hunter can do. Yes, they can use silver and garlic and all this stuff to protect themselves and keep you at bay, but if you just run away, they don't have a way to catch you. And that's the pride part, because that would be a stalemate. And to most vampires, the idea of a tie with a human is too shameful. They wouldn't allow it. So they fight back instead and face the potential of losing and being killed. So I'll say it again. If they do show up, they're going to kill you. They don't want to kill me, so you don't need to worry about me. Just run. It's a good question. I don't want to hurt them. I won't kill them. If I can't talk them down, I'll probably just try to delay them. Best case, I actually do get them to listen and we can just go home and live a fairly normal life, but they see things with vampires pretty black and white, and the odds of me getting them to back down are just not great. More likely, they think you've tranced or enthralled me and just completely disregard anything I say. But they won't hurt me, especially if I don't attack first. If they try to go after you before you've had enough time to get away, then I'll do what I have to keep them here. And as for running away, if anyone shows up, there's this buzzer that'll go off. You can get out the back and just run. What? Are you kidding me? We haven't even been here for 10 minutes. They must have followed us. Go. Go now. Wait, guys, stop. I don't know what you think is happening, but I promise I can explain everything. I swear to God, I'm not tranced or enthralled or anything.
Hey, kiddo. Don't worry. Everything's gonna be fine. Just let me take care of it like I always do. You can't trust vampires. I've told you this 1,000 times. It's toying with you at best.
Listen, you've got it all wrong. She doesn't even drink human blood. She doesn't have any vampire powers because of it. When I knocked her out, she stayed out for as long as a normal human. Not as long as a vampire. She's nothing like the other vampires.
Hey, it's okay. I've got you.
Sal, did you just inject me with something? What did you do?
Shh. It's okay. Whatever it did to brainwash you, we'll take care of it. You'll be feeling like yourself again in no time.
You drugged me. I can't believe you drugged me.
Listen, kiddo, after the meeting we knew something was off. I've been following you since. Saying you couldn't do this anymore, stopping at a butcher, and then scurrying off to one of our own safe houses after I'd talked to you about it. But don't worry, I know you're not tranced. I know what that looks like. You're just confused, and we're gonna kill the vampire and clear this all up for you. I won't feed you any more lies.
She didn't lie. She's a better person than any of us.
If the vampire is so great, how come it left you alone to stall for it?
Because I told her to. If you hurt her, I'll never forgive you. Let her go. Just please let her go.
Ugh.
Sweetheart, did you come back to save me?